Greetings, friends. I'm Greg Langstaff. I'm a certified resume strategist, and I have written over 2,000 resumes. I love helping people get new jobs.
And I'm Jeff, and I have a lot of questions about getting jobs.
And this week, we got an extra special episode for you. But I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm going to fly solo on this one. This week, I invited in a dear, dear friend of mine. His name's David Ip Yam, and David has this amazing career story. He climbed the ladder to an executive level in his career by age 31. It's a fantastic story of how like your resilience, your hard work, your relationship building can kind of get you exactly where you want to be a lot faster than you think.
I remember the very first time I saw him speak. He was the type of speaker that when he got off stage, you rushed up to shake his hand and tell him how inspirational that was, how amazing, and that you would love to connect and learn more.
I'm so excited to bring you to that episode, and we will be back to hang out again next week. But for now, let's take it to me and David. Welcome to Next Job Now,
the podcast where we help you get your next job
right now. Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I don't think I could have possibly picked a better person to have on the show. Good friend of mine, longtime friend, and all-around legend, David Ip Yam. David is the type of person who makes high achievers feel lazy. He is an award-winning senior professional in the higher education industry. He is currently holding the role of Associate Vice President and Dean of Students at Centennial College in Toronto. Outside of work, David is, I believe, a second-degree black belt in karate. Yes. He owns and operates 2 businesses, including a martial arts training school, Mind Over Matter Karate, and a relationship coaching and empowerment brand, Relationship Zen. And the reason that we brought David in today is that David has achieved all this and so much more at an extremely young age. And he's got a very innovative approach and just a nice way about him also. And just having known David for about 14 years, I could say confidently that we'd all be in a better place if we just brought a little more David into our lives. So I sort of laid out your job title, but can you kind of walk us through like what that means and what is your job right now?
Yeah, thanks. So for those of you who've been in college or universities, either here or abroad, you've got your like classroom and learning experience, and then you've got this whole suite of services outside of the classroom or formal learning experience environment. And so I'm one of those folks in the college, in this case, that oversees a suite of those services, whether it be counseling, accessible learning, athletics and recreation, student life, that support your transition, onboarding, and engagement outside the classroom, and also in support of the learning in the classroom. So student success in general. Like I wake up every day and I'm thinking about how can I create conditions for students to be successful? And if I can support students to be successful, I'm supporting humans to flourish in the environment. So I work with a team of over 100 full-time staff and even more student staff to look at how we can support students to come in, through, out, and sometimes back to the college in a way that helps them achieve their goals, their wellness goals, their financial goals, their personal goals, their career goals, all those pieces. That's what I do at the senior level. I get to work very closely with my vice president and our president in that organization. So hopefully that gives you a sense of where I am, like in the organization and kind of what I do and what the mission is there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I sense a little humility there that I'm just going to sift through, as you said, one of the people, because you are, I'd say, the guy, the big dog. But I know it's obviously a team effort and everything. But you did subtly drop in that you have about 100 staff reporting into you, plus hundreds more student staff. And just to make it clear for everyone, because I know higher education is it's our niche. Those who don't know, that's my background as well before getting into this. But yeah, David's job is a job that we often see people getting after 25, 30 years of experience in the industry. And really, I mean, I guess counting your very entry level positions, you got there within about 10, right? 10 years or
Yeah,
so. Can you kind
yeah,
of
just about.
explain your career path in brief? Like how'd you get there so fast?
Yeah. That's a good question. And you know, you're right. Like sometimes I think I am the youngest, at least. So we have a table of heads of student affairs, and I'm definitely the youngest there. So it does it's a good question. It's a good observation there. And a lot of times, so when I first joined, I felt like, oh, do I belong here? Right. And then I thought back to the experience, and then remember that I'm always learning. I can learn from a lot of people, and so my journey, I think I started so in it has to go back to like high school, late teens, but I'll abridge it in the sense that I was exposed to some really formative leadership opportunities representing. I went to a French public school, and so I started representing Central Southwestern Ontario's Francophone students with the Ministry of Education. So I got a lot of early exposure at the age of 16, 17, running conferences for all of Ontario student trustees, lobbying government, and all those kinds of things that help prepare me for then student leadership in a university setting. And then that student leadership in a university setting helped me expose me to a field known as student affairs. I was going towards law school, but I was having such a good time lending my strengths and skills and experience to setting university culture in this field called student affairs. I ended up asking at the time an employer of mine, how do you do what you do? Is this a job? Like, what is this, right? And he's like, yep, there's a whole career track. And then he introduced me to some grad school options. And so I kind of took my foot off the gas of law school, and then invested some energy into this path, went to grad school while I was in an entry-level job in student affairs. And then I think the next few career progressions, and you can check out LinkedIn, were due to a lot of, and all of this has been due to a lot of environmental factors, in the sense that I've had great supervisors and great people around me, even since a young age, who are pushing me forward. I never saw myself in these kinds of roles before. I never saw myself in grad school. I want to underscore that. And it really is other people seeing potential in me because of the work I was doing. And I think that's really important in my story, is I kept trying to do my best to fill gaps that needed to be filled within the community I was working in. So like, what were the problems that needed solving? And then I genuinely felt the enthusiasm to go solve those problems, and then make the status quo better with others. And so that kept propelling me forward from assistant job, actually a coordinator job. Then I moved to an assistant job, and then in the manager job, and then a bunch of director jobs, and then this AVP role.
Would you mind, like, I know this, it might not sound interesting for you to talk through, but like, I think people would love to hear, how many years at each level, because I know you also were a director, like fairly young.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
21, we get the first coordinator job. Can you give us like just year by year kind of what happened?
Yes. I would love to pull up my LinkedIn, but I remember
Do you not have every step memorized? Is that what?
I don't- exactly.
When you work as hard as David has, folks, some of the past is a bit of a blur.
It is a blur. It is a blur, and but I have it now. We're
Okay.
loaded up, and
Okay.
so I had this, like, to keep me going. I had this saying that only like my spouse and really close friends knew, where I would be like, I would set targets based on age, but the targets didn't actually, I didn't hold myself to them, but they just kept happening ahead of time. So for
Oh,
example, yeah, I was like, okay, I'm a coordinator at in 2021. So yeah, like, let's just call it, like, I think you said 21. I'll go with that because I can't do the
age
math.
21 to be
Age
clear, not
21.
not
That's right.
2021.
Yeah, correct. Age 21. And then I was an assistant student affairs for 2 years. And in that role as assistant student affairs, I had this amazing boss. And again, I had come from a coordinator role to an assistant role. So I think a lot of times, so I had to take a job that perhaps I was overqualified for. And that's okay. I was like, I was upset at first, when I realized I had to do that. But then I was like, this is an opportunity. And I took it. And then I'm like, I'm going to do this as good as I can. And I did it so like I was successful in applying myself to that assistant job that my boss and their boss were like, okay, what other things can we have you do, stretch kind of assignments? And then those stretch assignments became ways for me to then get qualified to a manager job. And so I went from the assistant job, probably doing coordinator level things, to then getting a manager job 2 years later. And in that manager role, I was there for a year. It was an interim role. Again, I felt so like this was the right place, and working collaboratively with others, and focusing. And then in my mind, I'm like, okay, I want to be manager by 25. Oh, sorry. So before that, I was like, oh, I want to be a manager by 25, just as like a thing. And then I did that, but like much earlier. So like 2 years after 21, right? So like 23 or something like that.
Yes, that would be 2 years after 21.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should just be director by 30. And then I became director a year and 11 months after I was manager.
Wow.
And then,
so
and then I was like,
like age 25, you were a director?
Something like that. Yeah, like 20. Yeah, something like that. Exactly. Yes. 2016.
Right.
To 2018 as a director. And then I said to myself, okay, well, maybe executive director, AVP by 30 or something like that. So between 25 and 30, I held 1, 2, 3, including that first one, 3 director roles. Assuming responsibility over different projects, different teams, mergers, change management, all those kinds of things. I did some continuous education. And then I think it was around that 30-year mark, or 31, something like that, that moved to the associate vice president role. But again, I wouldn't say I was chasing any of those roles. Like I wasn't applying for any of them. It was just doing great work with great people, and getting results in a relational way, right? And then you sort of, people want to work with you when you do that.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit of manifesting going on there, but I mean manifesting in a way where we've, I don't think any of us really believe in kind of the magical sense of manifesting, but more the idea of setting our mind towards a goal and letting that goal define most of our decision making.
Yeah, I got some career advice early that was like, they said, I was going from the coordinator to the assistant role, and they said, and my dad had said something like this too, when you're in a role, ask yourself what your boss or your boss's boss would do, right? So as an assistant, I'd be like, okay, what would a manager do here? As a manager, I was like, what would an executive director do here? Because that way it helped me think long term about the health of the organization. And if I was working towards a healthy organization, then that would be useful product for everyone, right? So I think, yeah, there's that intention setting that helped a lot. Yeah.
Wow, that's brilliant. The sort of thinking in the mindset of the role above you, or the role you would want to be pursuing. Yeah, I love that. Great advice. Okay, David, I wanted to also ask, because like in addition to killing it in your assigned roles and saying yes and taking on new things, you also, like outside of work, had done a fair amount of contributing to like the community at large. Like obviously in higher education, student affairs, there's professional associations, there's a lot of sub organizations that you have been a part of. I just wanted to know, like, what did that kind of look like for you, and how did that help you advance your career as well? Yeah,
there was like a great synergy between what I was doing at the office, and then my grad school, and then the professional association. So in our profession, like many others, there are conferences, networking opportunities, professional development opportunities. And at the conferences in particular, there would be a call for proposals to do a presentation, right, on something that's innovative, something that would help others develop their programs, services, and people. And so I seem to make a habit out of wanting to share what was going on and to learn from others. So I would submit proposals, they would get accepted, and then so at a conference, I'd be presenting a few times a year. a few times in that conference, and then sometimes be called on to present throughout the year. And I think that was very helpful from multiple perspectives. One, it was very helpful for the institution I belong to help build reputation and build the reputation of the institution as a great place for students, in my case, but also for as a great place for people to work. Secondly, it helped expose us to other movers and shakers and people who want to be to be the best for the students that they served. And so when you're in that circle, kind of like as you move up in a sports environment, like levels up, you're breathing rare air, right? And you're with other people who are challenging you every day. So I think that getting access to those networks is a huge benefit to yourself and to your institution, to your career. And then third, it helps keep you sharp. Like when you have to go up and present, like I think of it as such a privilege. Like I think of it as the people in this room, I need to give as much value as possible to the people in this room to if I'm going to present. So I need to be on my game. So it kind of like, I submit the proposal and then there's like, I get accepted and it's like, okay, between now and then, I got to really make this sharp. And so not just my presentation, I'm talking about the content and the work we do at the office. So it helps me, it galvanizes the work I do at the office so that I can present a package that is amazing for the folks at the conference so that we can all learn from it and I can learn from others as well. So huge career growth, I think, from getting out there, being, if you want to be like a thought leader or whatnot, or contributing to the conversations, contributing to the advancement of your profession, I think is critical, and it has been for me. Yeah.
And that, just so we're clear, that sort of started with you, knowing obviously from your bosses and mentors of these conferences, but then saying yes when the opportunity came up to submit a proposal for a presentation. And
that's right. That's right. Yeah. And now in my role, I send a message to all of my team and I say, hey, I try to do the same thing my great bosses did. I say, hey, I've got this, there's an opportunity coming up. Can't send everybody, but I will prioritize those who send a proposal and get accepted. And then we'll do a short listing pending budget. Right. And then the first time I went, I tried to make it easy for my boss. I was like, I'm going to apply for one of these bursaries so that it's not drawing on your budget. I'm going to apply a bursary. And I got that bursary from the organization. So I was able to go free of cost to the college and then present and do all the things. Yeah.
And I think like a key takeaway for this too is like the power of just being present within your industry, because like I could confidently say this, that David you earned your way to becoming one of the most well-known and respected people in the industry, really just by your presence in these professional organizations and your presentations and some of the committee work that you've done, which is probably a big factor in, we should let people know you moved up. Most of your promotions were internal within the University of York University, where we both worked at the time. But then when it came time to move to this Dean of Students AVP level, you were sought after from another school, Centennial. And I feel like I wouldn't be wrong in saying that everyone there, at least in making the decisions, knew who you were already and were probably very excited at the opportunity to work with you because of the reputation you built in your industry. Is that right?
I think that's right. And it's the same way I feel if I'm like recruiting somebody who's like done that kind of work within the association. Their reputation precedes them, right? You know a lot about the candidate. You're like, I want those things that they're doing, talking about, developing here, right? So yeah, I think you'd be right to say that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Building your reputation is so key. Actually, this is a sort of a topic I've been thinking about a lot lately, but I'd love to know your thoughts if this is something that you do. But for those of us who can't maybe go to conferences because of opportunities or funding at our work or what have you, how do you feel about sort of leveraging LinkedIn as a place to post and share your thoughts and sort of develop a reputation as a thought leader through that platform?
There were. That's a fantastic question. There was like a period of 2 years where, because of my role, like I didn't have the opportunity, PD money, to go to caucus. So what I did is I started a podcast on student success. Yeah, and then I posted that stuff on LinkedIn. Like it's a mini blogging right? It's
Yeah,
blogging and it's thought
absolutely.
sharing, and folks were picking it up, right? They were asking me to write for different things, and so the years where I didn't have the opportunity to go to the professional conferences is the years where I spent a lot of time writing for other platforms, doing the podcast, sharing the podcast being picked up by different community professional communities within our sub-professional communities within our profession. Um, Again, finding ways to serve, right? Finding ways to help the profession move forwards, right? It doesn't have to be a conference. So LinkedIn, at the time, blogging was great. And you don't have to create your own channel, right? There are others who are looking for content. You don't have to also create original content. You can respond to other people's contents. You can have an
Hmm.
opinion. You can remix the material. I think all those things are really important. It shows that you're thinking and you're engaged, and it does build your reputation. And yeah, and if it's genuine, then like nothing's stopping you, because yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And it doesn't have to be all like even blogging. It, like you said, you can be posting something you read on Forbes or something like that, and
Hmm.
just some insightful comments to tag onto that.
Yeah.
Um, Also, I want to give credit where it's due. I remember when you were making that podcast, you were grinding. After, like, typically after hours, you'd show up at someone's office with your microphone, and like I even remember you doing some interviews in little closets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was all about a hustle, and it's not like you went on to get hundreds of thousands of
No.
downloads on these podcasts, but the people who listened were the people who were in a position to elevate you in your career.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. Like I remember, like it was a grind. I wasn't expecting it, but like, the interviews I loved, because I love hearing the student stories and making sense of the stories, as somebody who is in this profession. Um, and so, but each story would then take like 5 6 hours to audio engineer, quote unquote, because I'm not that, but I had to do that with my little tablet and market and all those things. But yeah, absolutely, it helped advance my career also for me personally, because so for the reasons you mentioned, but also helped advance my own kind of understanding of students, right, in their
Yeah.
lives. So if you, whatever your field is, right, whatever your craft is, I think it's so important to do that continuous learning, even if it's not like signing up for a course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think probably if not to steal your or secret sauce here or anything, David, but the trend I'm noticing is that everything that you're doing that's leading to your own personal success seems to keep coming back to your kind of service-based mindset, your commitment to helping the industry grow,
Yep.
and helping folks improve in the industry.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine a world where we're so committed to helping our industry and our coworkers and those around us to do better, where we wouldn't then be successful ourselves just because of the effort and the pathway that would take us on.
It's a good way of putting it. Yep.
I have another question, David. I have a lot more questions.
So
But I think this one's going to be kind of fun, especially given the overlap in mentors that we've had. Um, and I already know a few who you've been alluding to who are fantastic. You definitely hit the mentor jackpot. Um, I wanted to know, I guess, how both having mentors and being mentored kind of helped you along your path. And since you've spoken to that already, maybe we can also speak on like what do you think makes a good mentor, and how would one a mentorless person go about getting a mentor?
mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, super critical. I've had people, so I would say, so I've been a formal mentor for people, in the sense of like I've been a like people on a roster that people can select from, and then
Right, like a
right,
structured mentorship
structure
program.
mentor. Yeah, so I've done that for folks, and I really enjoy it. What I've had benefit, what I've really benefited from, and I think you too, is like just having amazing people to learn from, who were my supervisors, but also my peers.
Mm.
Peers, supervisors, and so there was like a mentoring relationship, but that was really organic and relational, um, both in my world of karate and with my sensei, and in his business, the Mind Over Matter Karate, that I support with, and then in from high school, like those people who pushed me. Like I was, just as background for people, I was one of those children who had crushing social anxiety. I could never speak in public. Like I couldn't even do attendance. When they say like Greg present, David present, I wouldn't say that. because it was so difficult.
Wow.
I would write like that kind of crushing kind of social anxiety. So it took a lot of good people around to kind of literally push me through the door and be like, okay, now you're doing this thing. I'll give you an example, quick example, and then just to,
Sure.
so you understand like what kind of mentoring I've had. I had been doing karate for like 3-4 years, small child, not small child, like maybe like 13, 14. Again, never wanting to be in public. And then one day my sensei, and there's a class of 30 people, students here, I had been assistant instructing while he's teaching. He's the one in the front. I'm assisting folks. He's just like, okay, David, your turn. Go to the front, teach the class.
Wow. Trial by fire.
Trial by fire. And I will say that I had multiple experience before that and after that pushed me until I gained the confidence to take the steps myself. So the story you heard up till now was when, like, by that time, I'm taking the initiative with the support of others, but it's not people telling me like, do this, or in this case of sensei, do this or die, but those things were really formative. And so in my career, really, really standing on the shoulders of really great giants in the field, I would say, who I love and respect. So to your question about mentorship, what's good qualities of a mentor, I think that somebody you can relate to is really key. And you may not be able to relate to everything about them, whether it's identity or socioeconomic status, but find what you can relate to, and also realize that we're not tied to one mentor. Like, take what you can from everybody, right? And give. I'm just saying, in a mentoring relationship, right? As
take. That's all it is.
Exactly. Right? Like, don't expect one person to be all the things for you as a mentor.
Yeah,
right? It's a village
like
approach.
The mom at that point.
Yeah. And I would say I feel anxious too if somebody approaches like that to me as a mentee, if they want me to be all the things. And so I say up front that I'm going to connect you. So that's another quality, is somebody who's got the awareness that they are not all the things for you, and that they can connect you. People who will refer you to others in the network, I think, are really key. Give you access to network, not necessarily give you jobs, because that's not necessarily the role of a mentor.
Very different.
And then give you the truth, honesty about the skills and the work that's required. And I try to do that. I try to give people the behind the closet look at what it takes, what it took for me. And then obviously it may, and then my perspective, and also somebody who speaks from their experience, doesn't overgeneralize how you should feel, what's going to happen. Right. So some humility, relatability, somebody's going to connect you to a network, and someone that cares about you. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to put you on the spot with this one, because you might not have an answer. So if you don't, that's okay. But just in case you have any thoughts, let's say we've got someone watching this who would love to have a mentor. They're pretty ambitious, but like maybe their boss isn't, that type of a person, and they don't have any kind of immediately available people like that in their life due to whatever reasons, the structure, the situation they're in. Any ideas on how someone in that situation might try to find some sort of mentorship energy somewhere here or there?
Yeah. Good question. I've had a lot of people reach out to me for it. I think make the stakes low if you're going to make a cold call introduction, and right. And so I've had people reach out to me in really great ways. The ones I'm really likely to respond to quickly are like, hey, they show they've put in the work, first of all, right? Because I might get
what do you mean by that?
Okay, yeah. They'll say, hey, I've been, normally it's somebody coming to my field, so I'm just going to be more specific.
Sure.
Here's a good example, like people who are in academia, so doing their PhD or whatnot, and then they want to transition to working for the university, perhaps in student affairs. So they'll say, hey, I've been thinking about moving into student affairs. And one example I had was, I took this class that's related to your field, and wrote about this thing. So it shows me that they've got some interest vetted, because sometimes I get a cold, like, yeah, I'm doing this and I want to just learn about the field, right? It's open. And that's okay. But if I'm going to pick from 5 different people to have this conversation with, I'm going to pick the one that's done a bit of like work about the field,
Right.
and I know has a demonstrated interest and has invested some time and energy into it. So I'll say that. And then the other thing I like to respond is they'll say 15 minutes of your time, right? 15 minutes. Most
Yeah.
often I'll book that 15 minutes, but it'll become 30 minutes, for me. For me.
Yeah, if you're
Not
enjoying
everybody's
the
like that.
conversation.
If I'm enjoying the conversation, it'll be 30 minutes. But I like that they've kind of like capped it off that way versus others. It makes it a really big kind of effort, like whether it's like, and I don't know them, right? Go for coffee, dinner, da, da,
Yeah.
da, da. It's a lot for the schedule, I think.
What in those 15 to 30 minutes of like a first conversation with a potential mentee, like what are the kinds of things they're asking you about or talking to you about in a good one?
Yeah. I think giving me a sense of their objective, their interests, their likes, dislikes, what they've tried, their experiences and skills. A lot of them, though, so I'll try to get to know them. A lot of them will ask me questions to get me to share what they need, which is great as well. But I do like having a sense of direction and what they're hoping to get out of the conversation, because it is only 15, 20, 30 minutes max.
Yeah.
So help me with some direction about what you'd like to get out of the conversation. And then they typically will ask me what a day in the life is, and different what trends I'm seeing in the field, emerging jobs, that kind of thing. And then generally we'll spend the last little bit trying to match what they said with what I've said to see where's that like concentric circle of what they bring to the table and then what this field needs. Yeah. So in general, what are you bringing to the table? What does the field need? And then where's the fit? That's kind of what I like. Yeah. And what I've seen.
Nice.
Work well.
I'm just curious, like how do those conversations usually end off?
I think they usually end off with like great. They almost all the conversations I can think of end off with the person feeling really grateful and then me feeling really grateful for the conversation. Both of us feeling like this was a great meeting. Yeah, and then we may keep in touch kind of passively that way,
Yeah.
or more actively if there is some kind of avenue to continue working together. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can
Generally, it's a
imagine.
passive relationship.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I guess I'm sort of picturing like, is there a world in which that great conversation might down the line, 6 months later, maybe a year later, lead to like you thinking of them favorably when they're in a hiring situation?
100%. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of times I will connect those people with other people who might be looking for jobs, or looking for candidates, or even just like closer to their field of interest, specific field of interest. So definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Starting that networking chain.
Exactly. It is a networking chain. Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I've then shared opportunities with them afterwards too. Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, there you go, folks. Definitely don't be afraid to reach out. But as David said, make sure that you've already put in some effort to show interest in that person's field and area, and of course, during the conversation, want to make it clear what we want to get out of it. Although that should not be directly a job, even if that is what we want to get out of it.
Correct.
David, I got some other questions for you. I remember doing a lot of professional development throughout the earlier phases of your career. I'm sure you're still doing stuff like that now. Yeah, Blake, what do you have any professional development that you've got going on now, and also thinking back, what's been most helpful for you?
Yes. So what's been most helpful for me has been, I did a certificate in alternative dispute resolution when I was going for law. One of the tracks could have been mediation. And as you know, in life and in many workplaces, even in entrepreneurship, that ability to have emotional intelligence and to resolve conflict in alternative ways is critical. So that's been foundational. It was a 5K, investment that was well spent. Didn't feel good at the time to spend it, but it was amazing. And it continues to pay dividends. And then I did a certificate in change leadership. So a lot of people who be watching this maybe are ADCAR certified, ProSci certified, so change management. I did mine through Barbara Trolling, change leadership, more of the psychological aspects of transition. I felt that I already had enough training in change management, like informally through my background as a leadership development educator, that what I needed to layer on was the art of change versus the, maybe perhaps the harder science of change, which I felt was more, and continue to believe actually, is more simple. And so I think you need to round it out with look at the skill sets that you need in your job, look at the training people have gotten, and then ask yourself, is there something that they're missing? Is there a complementary piece? And for me, I'm only able to say that now upon reflection. Before it was more intuition. I was like, I feel like we need more this thing. It's lesser known, but this is the skill we need. And it has paid dividends time and time again, change leadership, to complement the classical change management discipline. So I facilitated it, trained folks in it, and then I lead changes. I've led many changes and co-led many changes thanks to it, in complement with other things. I got a job I had a job as a director. I was able to really gain experience in project management, right? And a lot of people say like, I coordinate projects and stuff like that, which is good. Yeah. Pick up the project management book and look at like the ways in which you can take it to a next level. Even if you don't sign up for the course, sign up for the course if you can. But otherwise, take a disciplined approach to your project management so that you're actually doing the thing, not just doing the thing you think you're doing. I think I'm doing project management, but it's actual discipline. Open the book and see what's in there, and then practice that discipline. Then the master's and then the PhD coursework I didn't do the thesis, but I did the coursework. Right now, I am going back to what I'm really enjoying what I'm enjoying is, so I'm listening to podcasts. And then I'm applying what I'm learning. I try to do it within the day or that week.
Wow.
Just this kind of like just in time kind of learning. And I'm finding the micro learning is really helping me for where I'm at in my life right now.
Yeah. What podcasts are you listening to right now?
Yeah, I really like Adam Grant. He's an organizational psychologist, thought leader. He's got great things online. What's his? The Work Life by Adam Grant.
Work Life really by Adam Grant. Okay.
Yep. I do have the HBR, Harvard Business Review podcasts on there that I listen to. I have some industry specific podcasts. So whatever your industry is, find those thought leaders and engage in that content. Those are some of the ones. And then I have a bunch of like personal development, leadership oriented ones, which I feel make me a better positional leader at work anyway. I think it's really critical to, like you, Greg, like have sharp focus on your fitness, your health, and all that, because that's going to impact your ability to show up in your work. Yeah.
Wow. Well-rounded answer, David. A couple of things I just want to like isolate from that. First, like the stuff that you chose to zero in on early in your career in terms of professional development. I love that you chose to, the way you kind of analyzed what's missing from my industry. Or from the environment I'm in, because what I thought you were going to say, I think a lot of people would have thought you were building up to, was look at the professional development other folks in your industry have done, do that. But what you're saying is find a way to build on that so that they have need for you specifically. That's brilliant. The other thing that I wanted to point out from your answer was, it sounds like a lot of the things you focused in on and probably are the reason you've been able to get in these senior leadership roles so young. These are like high level people, like interpersonal skills where we're affecting dozens, hundreds, thousands of people who are with our sort of opinions and pathways forward to affect like positive change. I feel like the interpersonal focus of your development, because a lot of us might think, I need to, if I'm an accountant, I need to learn the advanced rules of accounting, or I should probably speak to things I know very specifically, but to that fact, your focus was really around the people you're working with, because I think as we rise up, it becomes more and more about the people and less about the specific thing that we're doing. So
Yeah, it's the
that's so
number one.
cool.
Totally. Yeah. No, thank you for reflecting that back. It's the number one resource in an organization is the people, right? You could cut the budgets, you have no fancy things, service, but if your people are optimized, charged, and feeling supported and empowered, nothing can stop you, right? Like, yeah. Yeah, you're right. And then I spent a lot of time, in my master's, like learning the technical, right? But
Yeah.
every other opportunity absolutely was the people orientation. That's when I realized, and going back, when I was setting goals for like manager by 25, director by 30, AVP by 35, it was actually, I was doing that because one, society was telling me I had to do it, but intrinsically, the reason I was doing it was I was starting to realize, to your point, that my interests and skills, what I could do would be, I could do better for the organization if I was at that level, if I was at that hierarchical level. Like just the things I was bringing to the table and the type of thinking I was, I could serve the organization better in those roles. I needed more influence, right? However, if I had a different skill set or different interests, that may have translated into, specializing more in an individual contributor role, right?
Yeah.
But for me, to your point, like the things I was focused on were like management, leadership oriented stuff. So it just made sense to go in that direction. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if you say you're like a software engineer,
Yeah.
and you love that, maybe the professional development route is to just become the best software engineer, not so much worrying about the interpersonal side. It's everyone's path and their interests that lead them on that path. One other thing that you brought up that I think is so important, in professional development, is that it doesn't all need to be these $5,000 courses.
Yeah.
That the podcasts we listen to on the commute to work, and the books that we're reading, and the ebooks we're reading, and the small little micro learning, as you put it, like that goes so far in our ability to perform. And that kind of stuff, I feel like, is so immediate. It also gets noticed by the folks who may be in a position to promote you or give you a raise or whatever it is to advance you in your career. So, yeah.
Totally. And one of the best things, like this happened organically, and I started realizing like, oh, this is good career advice for people, is I listen to a podcast in the morning on the way to work. And then when you're talking to your boss's boss, or somebody of influence that you want to talk to, you're like, hey, I was listening to this thing on this aspect of the industry, and it got me thinking. That person's going to pay attention if they're they're going to pay attention 9 times out of 10. And they'd be like, wow, this guy or person is paying attention and is interested, right? And for me, it was just an organic reach out because I was like nerding out on the thing. Yeah. But I didn't realize it was having this impact of like, let's hear more from David. Let's talk more to David about this stuff.
One of the fringe benefits to listening to podcasts about your job is you get to talk about the fact that you're listening to podcasts about your job.
Yes, yes. And you can workshop the ideas with other people and move the organization forward. Yeah.
Well, I love that. Okay, I'm going to talk about something a little on the darker side, David, the work-life balance of it all. Yes. I do remember you for years working long hours. A couple of questions on that. One, are you still working very long hours?
I am not working as long hours as I used to in one job in particular. When I was a manager, when I went from coordinator to or assistant to manager, to director, manager director. My first manager director jobs were like 12 to 16-hour days sometimes. Yeah. And that was a big lesson. And I'm glad you asked the question, right? Because some of this comes at a cost, right? The way I did it. And the way that a lot of people do it, unfortunately, but less so now. I think people are becoming, especially post-pandemic, more aware of the importance of true balance and paying attention to one's body and stress and how stress shows up in the world. Like we just have so much access to so much more knowledge about health and wellness that I did not have did not know about at the time. I didn't even know I was stressed. I didn't know I was overworking. I just thought like this is what we do. I was very passionate about what I was doing. I didn't realize I was burning through, getting close to burnout. Those times, I was like, if I'm doing work that matters, and that is fun, and that I love, then how can it be bad for me? Trust me, it can be bad for you.
I
Your
don't
health.
know that everyone else who's working 16 hours a day is finding it fun. So I'm glad you at least had that experience.
I did.
I
But I can share
remember.
more.
Oh yeah, please go
No,
ahead.
sorry. If you had yeah.
Well, I just remember from when we were living together for those sort of late 20s years. Um, like sometimes coming downstairs to see you at the kitchen table hard at work at 10 p.m. and then the next morning you're there at 6 a.m. Or
Yeah.
7 or what have you.
Yes, yes,
You
yes,
were
yes, yeah.
burning it at both ends.
I was, yeah. And like the thing is, so what I was doing was, so I was working at the office like 12 to 16 hours a day, Monday through Friday. I was also, at one point, I was also teaching a course, like a university
Yes.
course at the same time. So that was like my Sundays. And then I was working all day Saturday for karate. And then somewhere there, I would do like my other side gigs, right? So yeah, yeah. I didn't think anything was wrong with that. I thought like this is how we do, right? At the time. Yeah, burning it at both ends. And I will say that now, and then later throughout the mid to late 20s and early 30s, I guess I'm in my early 30s. Yeah, mid
You're
now.
in the mid
Um,
30s now,
Mid
David.
30s now. Yeah, that's right. We just had that that day. What do you call that? The birthday? No, okay. Paying the price, right? And um, being now being for you can either be forced to slow down or you can be more mindful, like intentionally and your own choice. And I think for me it was the latter. I was forced to slow down.
Yeah.
And now I'm paying attention. Yeah.
What have you done to kind of like, because you're still obviously performing at a very high level and getting a lot
Mhm.
done. I mean, how are you kind of managing that while also taking care of yourself?
Yeah, I was reflecting on what before the pandemic, I didn't know another way to live. I was like, if you're not, I'm loving being productive. Like everything was just about productivity. Um, right? And that lesson after the pandemic, and we really scaled the business during the pandemic too, while I was working full time. But the second year of the pandemic really slowed down, and now the hours I used to spend doing working like extra overtime and working on some of the side hustles at the time, I spent on my health.
Hmm.
So um, I was even let me explain what that means, spending time on my health. That meant that
Yeah.
might look like buying a chair that I now have assigned as my reading chair.
Hmm.
And that actually makes me want to read. Like sit down, get off my phone, read a
Yeah.
book in a chair with a nice drink. Uh, so that's an example. With the money I'm earning, it's to I spent a time like I now we've booked a quarterly thing, my spouse and I, my partner and I, a quarterly kind of retreat, local or international,
Hmm.
where we unplug. That was a spa day one time in December. That was amazing. Just really anything that lowers the stress levels, like getting you into the sympathetic, parasympathetic, the rest digest. Anything that
Hmm.
gets me in the rest digest. Now I will invest time and money in, where perhaps before I was investing in like building a side business or something like that, or spending in extra hours at the office. I have boundaries now. I'll say no a lot more,
Hmm.
right? So that's another investment because that takes time to learn. I will watch a show. I never used to watch like these hilarious shows that I'm so glad that you know about, and because then we could talk about it. But like things like Community, I only just started watching. I just watched and finished, and Superstore and things like that. Like I did not do that stuff before. Like I did not watch TV.
I remember if we were ever to do like a coax you into finally sitting down to watch a movie, you would be stretching the whole time to like try to be productive while you were watching the movie.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Now I'll be like just sitting on the couch, right?
Yeah.
And then stretching period will be another time. So, you know, and uh, yeah, I would listen to podcasts while working out. And I would say this is more recent, but now I just put music on.
Yeah.
Let's just work out. If you're gonna work out,
Yeah.
just work out,
I
right?
love that.
Yeah. So, bit of a long-winded answer, but I think yeah, that's been the journey.
A great answer. A great answer. I want to ask, I have like a bit of a fun rapid fire, but I got one more I want to ask before this. I would be absolutely not doing my job if I didn't ask this question. Um, you've done a lot of hiring. And I wanted to know, what are you looking for in top tier candidates? What gets you excited when you see in like a resume, or what behavior in an interview? What does that look like?
I love that how you frame that. What gets me excited? Um, I recognize that interviews are just one slice of the way to assess qualifications. I realize there's also like a performative aspect to interviews, meaning like you could ace an interview and be terrible at a job, but I love it if you could ace the interview. like it helps. Like if you can nail those behavioral questions, tell me a time when,
Yeah.
share with me, tell me a story, right? Put me in that place where I can picture you. Help me. If I've invited you to an interview, like I want you to succeed, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like I want like the 4 or 5 people I want to, I want them to be amazing, right? So invite me into that time and space when you did that thing and walk me through it. Like just tell me the story with some with the challenges and the results you got. I'll say that. I'll also say that um, I love if somebody has done the research. Like what usually we give like a presentation or even in the final question opportunity to kind of share. Who's done some research about the problems we are facing and
Mm.
and show me a solution that you might present.
Where might
Like
someone find the problems that you're facing if they're not
mm,
part of the organization already?
that's a really good question. I think that couple ways. So we tend to, and I know this may be industry specific, we tend to send the questions ahead of time. And from the questions, you can kind of tell the issues we're facing. Usually,
Oh,
organization strategic plan is up. Most, I would say,
yeah, on their
organizations.
website or something.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So I would look at that on the website. Um, Certainly, if you could talk to folks beforehand, do that.
Mm.
Informational interviews. But like even for me, I'm really just looking at, did you read our strategic plan? Did you read
Yeah.
the website? Do you know who we serve? What are those clients, the students in my case, or the clients of the organization? What are their journeys? What are their pain points? And how can you help us be the best for our clients or our students or our industry, right? Like a lot of that stuff is publicly available, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So practice your interviews. Secondly, get to know, like work with somebody who knows what they're doing, right? Make it clear in your resume and cover letter your accomplishment statements. I've been told that maybe it's because I'm in the like I know the work you do, Greg, but when I receive resumes that don't have accomplishment statements, they just give me a job description. I
Oh,
do I just want to like push it aside, and I've been told,
yeah.
you know,
There's no
to
proof that you were good at your job if
thank
you
you. Yeah,
just
you
have a
told me what your
description.
job was. Well, thank you. I could tell by the title, right? And so I'm not trying to be rude. I'm saying you have strengths and skills and experiences. Show me what that led to in terms of results. Um,
Yes.
yeah, results and results. I mean human results and like concrete, so quantitative and qualitative results.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
which I
love
love
that.
that you include both kinds in your examples and teachings and coachings. Yeah,
I try my
uh,
best. I try my best.
yeah.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. And then somebody who balances. Sorry, final thing.
Yeah.
This is really
Hit me.
important. Somebody who balances relationships, results, and process. Like in their
Mm.
questions and in their demeanor, they prioritize relationships, the human felt experience. They prioritize the getting the job done, the results, and they prioritize the process, how it gets done. So they know that how
Interesting.
people feel is important. That the steps we take together is contextual and it is important, and then getting the results are important. People who focus only on results might be good for certain things, like being drivers. But I'm looking for that holistic piece. And if you focus only on the people, but you don't know how to work with people to get to the results, then sort of like you're sort of like everybody likes you, but you're unable to get results. Now, by the way, if you could, I'm not saying that being likable means doesn't get results. I like to be liked as well. I'm saying that it's
But you
not
are
enough.
liked, David.
Yeah. And suppose maybe nice being liked is you know, I'm using it as a simple word for building trust and
Yeah.
psychological safety in an organization is what I'm saying, right?
Nice.
Balancing that with results and process. I'm looking for somebody who can balance those three on the triangle, if you will, for anything.
Well put. So just to be clear, that's the people, process, and results. Those are the
Correct.
three. Do you mind if I start talking about that in my content sometime?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. Okay, David, we're going to do a little rapid fire questions. Ooh, okay, this is going to be fun. So we've got four quick ones for you here. When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grow up?
I wanted to be a Super Saiyan from Dragon Ball, or yes, just some kind of hero, like an action hero. Yeah.
I've seen you fight in a like martial arts setting. I got to say, you got pretty close.
Thank you. Thank you.
Man, you picked the right sensei as well.
Yes.
Okay, David. Rapid fire number 2. What is your favorite guilty pleasure snack?
It's got to be chips. It's got to be chips. Not salt and vinegar, not ketchup. All the others.
All the
I
others.
love an all dressed. I love a barbecue. Yeah.
Excellent. This is highly Canadian for those who are watching from outside. We have these chips called ketchup chips here. They're delicious. You would love them. But David doesn't. David doesn't. Yep. Yeah, I would. That was a cue up. I knew you were going to say chips. I just wanted you to admit it in public. David, rapid fire number 3. What's your favorite thing about me?
Oh, Greg, you. When I think Greg, I think like you're going to have a great time, like one-on-one, a great time that is like genuine. Like you have a genuine, like way of creating a fun, welcoming environment for me and others.
Nice. Thank you. Question number 4. Do you think that was an appropriate question to ask in this setting?
I liked it.
Okay, great.
It's your podcast, your show.
Thank you. Good point. Oh, we should have been talking about me the whole time. No, this was fantastic. Last one I wanted to ask, David, just is there anywhere you'd like people to follow you? Anything else you want to share about yourself? We'll kind of leave it open to you at this point. What's going on?
Yeah. Maybe I'll share like one more piece of advice that I think I often end off on, actually, now that I think about the mentoring calls. A lot of people who will chat with me, they feel stuck, right? And they want to move on. And I think, so I've been in those like contract roles. I've been in the, entry level roles as well. And I know, and I've been there, yes, period. And what I set my mind to was to do the tasks that were assigned to me to be best in the world at those tasks. If it's filing, file the best way you can, make it innovative, make it faster, make it more efficient, make it more effective. I think to have, like, I never thought I was too big of a person for the role I had, even if I felt I was overqualified. And so I think, and I'm speaking from a place of privilege where I am now, right, in retrospect, but I think that most people, I like to think of, the job you're in as a sandbox, and there's probably things you can optimize within that sandbox. That within those barriers, there are things you could optimize, and there are problems you could solve that are probably untapped right now. And so let that be a platform to spring, to jump from for you. And if you would like to get in touch, or you'd like to kind of follow more of the journey, David Ip Yam on all social media, but I would say LinkedIn, my website, you can contact me through there, davidipyam.com.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I need to get back onto X. Like, I don't know how to sign in anymore. I need to figure that out.
Yeah. Hey, well, you know, you don't want to spread yourself too thin. It sounds like you got
Yeah.
a lot of platforms.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, David. What a lovely final piece of advice. Be the best you can at whatever you're assigned to do. Best in the world. I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, let's call it there, David. This has been absolutely fantastic. A lot of fun. Really appreciate you sharing all your stories and your insights. And yeah, well, thanks for coming. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. It's been a lot of fun. We're gonna do it again next week. We have someone very special coming in, Devin Butler, who does a ton of hiring. We're talking looking at 50 to 80 resumes every single week. We're going to talk about what are some of the big mistakes people are making? How do you stand out in a crowd that big? And also, how do you navigate these complex interview processes? So that one's going to be a little more technical. And I'm super excited for that as well. But for now, David, thank you so much. This was a ton of fun. I can't wait to continue this on, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow as well.